Bang, shangling. Hey, this is David with Hagerty on Redline Rebuild Updates. Working on our Mini, and I'm at the transmission finally. Well, oil pan. Transmission, oil pan. I know it's a cliche, but whatever. At any rate, I have a whole bunch of white towels. Underneath here are all the pieces parts. Now, we tore this all apart. We did it on time lapse, so you might see it somewhere, but you're not gonna see it here. What you're gonna see here is the reassembly. So I've went through, cleaned everything up, pulled out parts that I believe are bad, and we'll go from there. So we have the main gear cluster and all its fancy pieces, putting in some fresh needle bearings where they need to be at, and a brand new lay shaft here because that one had some pitting to it. Our housing is nice and clean. This has all been vapor honed from both on the outside and on the inside, thoroughly washed. And I got a nice little coating of just some crystal clear spray paint on there just to kind of keep it nice. I have a couple new parts here. This is the shifter mechanism here, same thing. The case has been vapor honed and then put a coated clear coat on it. The shafts have been cleaned up, vapor honed, cleaned, polished a little bit here and there. This linkage is also vapor honed and clear coated. And this is our pile of our parts we're replacing. Some better than others. And then here's all the next set of pieces. It was kind of funny, but during the teardown, I had no clue that these were bronze. So they cleaned up pretty nice, I would say, because they were dead black. But our shafts, our shifter shafts, all that stuff is here. These are the output shafts. So you have, this comes out, and then for all intents and purposes, you got a U-joint that comes here, going out. Again, vapor honed, new bushing, clear coated. These were blasted and then Cerakote on the outside. So this will be a nice durable finish. I went with Cerakote over powder coating here because it doesn't build up. So I don't have to worry about any extra material in this area where the joint comes in. And of course, it's gonna last for a nice long time. We have fresh seal for our speedometer, and this is basically the speedometer housing. And again, same process as all the rest of the aluminum parts. Now, the trick, quite frankly, is this. All of those parts laying out on the table, with the exception of these on the dirty rag. Well, I gotta go back in here. And, well, we'll see how that goes. There's gonna be a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of put it in, take it out, put it back in, probably take it back out, and maybe put it back in, and at the end of the day, it's gonna work. There it is. Bang, shangling. All right. This was on the back side, or was this on the front side? That's there. This goes on last. This goes on next. Into that. We'll get this all mocked up and worry about torquing it here later. That way we don't have to worry about it if I gotta take it back apart for whatever reason. Sometimes it's flat out just the process of elimination. Like, I gotta put this somewhere. Where should this go? All right, really good, really good. So I got all the shifting mechanisms in there in place, and they actually work. I have the reverse gears in, the counter shaft's in, the main shaft is in, all the, or the two synchros, all that stuff seems to be working well. Of course, right now it's hard to shift because you have no leverage on anything, but everything's free to move. Just need to put the little clips, push them over so they lock the bolts in place so they don't back off. Put the final torque on these two nuts on the end shafts, and then that main section of the transmission is done. Add a couple little trinkets like, input shaft for the shifter, and then this whole big housing over here is what holds the differential gear. So that's what this is all about, and that goes down here on this end. And then last we have our output shafts for the front axles, and then of course our speedometer housing and the gears and all that. So that's where I'm headed. I gotta put 150 foot-pounds of torque on this nut on the shaft. All right, so simple enough, I guess. I just pulled this plug back out so my detent on my shift rods wouldn't hold me up. And then I also pulled the flipper back out. That allowed the rods to basically lock itself in gear. So right now it's in reverse and potentially first gear all at the same time, which holds that shaft from rotating. Now the only thing I have to do is maybe have an extra hand here holding this from rotating around in a circle as I put 150 foot-pounds on it. Let's see. There. That's the snap, a crackle, a pop we were looking for.
How high is that one gotta go?
Same.
No. Well.
Yowza.
Get my core workout.
Yeah, no shit. Here's my rockauto.com tip of the day. When you're torquing down a flange in this particular case, you have more than one bolt, walk around all the bolts, kind of a crisscrossed pattern, and increment your torquing up. So if you're going to 20, start at 10, then go to 20. And again, work in a star pattern. And all right, so with our transmission all put back together, we will be back over onto the engine, get that final assembled, mate the two together, and then get it into the car. Until then, you know what to do, and that's get off your hind end and get in the shop, get your work done, and accomplish something. And you know what? I know a lot of you are doing it, so thumbs up to you. See ya.